Speaking of racism, since we're here, might as well go to it. This doesn't just happen in the realm of Twitter and social media. This is actually language of racism, of terrorism that's being carried out by elected officials. In Mississippi, over the weekend, there is a state representative named Karl who was so upset about the removal of Confederate symbols and monuments in New Orleans that he took to Facebook and he made this post. You'll see it on your screen in a moment. And this, mind you, this is an elected official. This is not just somebody off the internet. This is someone who has been elected by the people in Mississippi. And this is what he had to say. He said, "The destruction of these monuments erected in the loving memory of our family and fellow Southern Americans is both heinous and horrific. If the, and I use the term extremely loosely, leadership of Louisiana wishes to, in a Nazi-ish fashion, burn books or destroy historical monuments of our history, they should be lynched," in all caps. "Let it be known, I will do all in my power to prevent this from happening in our state." This is this is an elected official who said this over the weekend. It took 2 days for the Speaker of the House of Mississippi to actually condemn this. It took 2 days for the governor of Mississippi to condemn this. But in the midst of waiting for people to condemn it, you actually had 2 other state representatives from Mississippi who liked this comment on Facebook. There they are on your screen. John Reed, a Republican of Mississippi. Doug McLeod, a Republican of Mississippi. According to MississippiToday.org, they liked this on Facebook. What does that matter? It matters because you are co-signing. These are 2 additional elected officials co-signing on a death threat. On a death threat that has historical baggage significantly to the black community. You do not say the word lynch and not expect it to elicit a response that rings true of racism, that rings true of the very problem that the Confederacy actually represents. And so while he's defending this treasonous failure of the Confederacy, he's actually using language which shows why we need to pull all of those monuments down across the country. It came to my attention today that there's even a monument here in Boston, Massachusetts, that was funded and sponsored by the Daughters of the Confederacy, memorializing prisoners who were captured and some who died, Confederate prisoners who were captured and some who died here in Boston. And so this is a problem that goes across the country. But I want you to understand, this is a significant problem in our leadership. These are elected officials who feel that it's okay to not only use the word lynch, but use the word lynch in regards to people who are opposing racism. Like this, what year are we in? Clearly in Mississippi, they have not come out of the 70s yet, or hell, even the 60s. But here we are with an elected official, and he finally, to be fair to him, not that I have to be, but to be fair to him, he finally came out, Karl Oliver, whatever the hell his name is, finally came out and apologized with one sentence, and he said that I should not have used the word that I used. No, the sentiment still remains. This is one of those things where I'm not really sorry, I'm just upset that someone is making me have to say I'm sorry. It's the non-apology apology. And here we are with a guy who is an elected official who feels so passionately about the Confederacy that and not only that, let's go one step further. Nobody called for him to step down. This is a death threat. If this had been said by just an average citizen, in most cases, it would have been followed up by a knock on your door from the authorities, from state authorities. This is a death threat, and yet nobody, not the governor, not the the Speaker of the House in Mississippi, none of them called for Oliver to step down. All they said was he should not have used that word. Well, what word would you have rather he use? Should he say murder? Should he say, I don't know, how many he killed? Because this is what it's not just the word itself and the racist connotations that it carries, but it's also the sentiment that he's willing to violently defend the Confederacy. And last but not least, this is the same representative who represents a town called Money, Mississippi, where Emmett Till was lynched. And so the fact that historically Oliver has not only stirred up memories of lynchings, but he represents the actual county where one of the most notorious lynchings occurred in American history. And all of them are a part of the Republican Party. All of them. Speaker of the House, the governor, Oliver, who made the statement, the two representatives who commented on or liked the statement, all of them are part of the Republican Party. And I will be the first to tell you about the racism that still exists in the Democratic Party. You can go check my receipts. I got plenty of videos to talk about it. But when we talk about where the Confederacy is right now, and we talk about where the KKK exists right now, there's a lot of conversations about whether or not the KKK started off as a Democratic organization. Yes, it did. It started off as a Democratic organization. But if you look at the Confederacy, if you look at who still represents the Confederacy, flies the flags, and you ask yourself the question, who did they vote for? Who do you think the Klan voted for in 2008 and 2006 and 2012? Do you think the Klan, because they were affiliated with the Democratic Party, voted for Barack Obama? Do you think the Klan voted for Hillary Clinton? No, not at all. And this is a problem that's prevalent. It's pervasive. And if we don't address it, it's going to continue to be political fodder for which we have no resolution. But the problem is we have a president in the White House who will not speak out about the violence that comes from white, right-wing, fundamentalist Christian organizations, terrorist organizations. He will not bring up the three of the most horrific cases that we've seen just since he's been elected. The case in Quebec, Canada, with Alexander Bissonnette. He went into a mosque and shot 6 people, 6 Muslims who were praying. He was a supporter of Donald Trump, and yet Donald Trump will say nothing about it. He will say nothing about the shooting in Kansas of Srinivas Kujibotla, the Indian engineer who was killed by a Donald Trump supporter who went into a bar after killing this Indian engineer. He went to a bar and told the bartender that I killed me some Arabs. Donald Trump's not going to say anything about that. Donald Trump's not going to say anything about the white man who drove up from Maryland to New York and killed a black man, 66-year-old black man in Times Square because he wanted to kill black people. We have people who deny the existence of racism. We have people who ignore the evidence of white terrorism in the United States, and we have it not only in the case of Mississippi, where they're lauding or they're celebrating the idea that they can lynch people in the name of the Confederacy, but we also have a president who won't say a damn thing about it.